Hey everybody, it's Rob. I'm back. We're going to be doing another Proving Grounds practice machine. And the machine we're going to be doing this time is CVE 2024-48061, which is a Linux machine that is rated as intermediate. I would say intermediate is fair because it took me a bit, even though it's one of those machines where they actually give you the CVE that you're going to be using to exploit it. Okay. So I would say that the intermediate rating was appropriate for this machine. As you can see, I am on Offsec VPN, and I do have the machine spun up, and you can see the IP addresses right here. As is the case with every machine we do, the first thing that we did was we did an mmap scan. And not much came back. There's 22, which always is a waste of time for the most part. And then there's 7860, which is an HTTP port running an application. And I wasn't really aware of what the application was, but it's called Langflow, and it's a Python application library program that has a web front end where you can do like visual coding. So there's components that you can drag onto a workspace. You know, it's almost like visual Python on a web-based visual Python. And apparently there is an exploit called CVE-2024-48061 that you can use to do unintentional remote code execution. Well, it's intentional for us, but I don't think the developers of Langflow wanted it to be intentional. So if we go to the website, because that's really the only choice we have here, right? We go to the website on 7860. You can see this is the Langflow software. And what I did was I did a search on the CVE, and a lot of stuff came back, but not a lot of great stuff came back. The thing that I found that was the most helpful was the sync site, because it actually takes you to a link where there is a POC or a proof of concept. For those of you not in the know, a proof of concept is basically something that shows that the vulnerability is in fact valid and does exist. So it's probably a harmless exploit that just demonstrates the fact that the application is in fact vulnerable to whatever it is they say it is. So if you click on this POC link, it takes you to this website. So it says there's a remote code execution vulnerability in the repository Langflow, allowing arbitrary code execution. Arbitrary code execution means execute whatever code you put in there, which is bad, right? So they demonstrate this using the calculator component, and they have some code here that essentially what it looks like it's doing is it's just doing a directory listing. So what we can do is we can craft code that will do something else, right? We're not interested in listing a directory. We're interested in maybe executing a reverse shell. I think we're gonna need a couple more lines than this. So we'll need at least one line to transfer a file that is executable, like a shell script that calls for a reverse shell, and then we'll probably need another line to actually execute that shell script. So a couple of things that I did to prepare for exploiting this box. The first of which was to go to my web tools folder, and I basically created this shell script that's just, I just named it rev shell, rev.sh. So if we go in here and we look at it, it's just a bash script. And what I did was, I've used this before. You can just go to this, I think this is Pen Test Monkey, if I'm not mistaken. And he has all of these one-liner payloads. Like any one of these probably would have worked, but this is the one that I typically use, or this top one. I've never used this middle one, to be honest. And I always use bash TCP, but he has Python. There's all kinds of one-liners in here. So basically I just copied that into a shell script. Okay. And then what we need to do is we're going to need to serve this script up to the application. The application is basically going to do a curl, download the script, and then we're going to execute the script remotely. Okay. So now that this script is ready to go, just going to X out of here, and you can see it's right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to open a terminal here, and we're going to do Python 3 HTTP, and we're going to do an HTTP server right in this directory, okay? Right in the shells directory where that reverse.shell is. Okay, now we have to go back to the application, and we need to do start here on flows, right? Just do a blank flow. And then what you want to do is you want to I just took the simplest one, which is the top, a text input, drop it on here. And it took some poking around. Like if you click on it, I didn't realize it, but there's a menu here where you can get in and do code, or you can just click this code right here. So this is the part where I'm going to save you a whole bunch of time. I tried to mess around with where this code needed to go. It really needs to go right here, okay? And here's the code. It's basically a copy of that proof of concept code, except we made a few changes, okay? I'm going to paste it in here, and we're going to go over it together. So these evaluation statements are essentially, it's executing, right? So we're using the OS module, right, to do a system call that's going to curl to my attack machine and download rev.shell, right? And it's going to copy it to temp folder rev.shell. The next one essentially is just doing another OS system call, and it's just running bash on that script. So it's essentially just executing the script, okay? Hopefully that's clear. And this sets up what's going to be executed, and these commands right here actually execute it, okay? I hope that's clear. You do not want to do anything else just yet, because if you do check and save, it's going to execute the code, and we're not prepared. The next thing we have to do is we have to open up a listener. And what, I can't remember what port I did it on. In here, I gotta look in here and see what port I did it on. Oh, I did it on the old 1337. Okay, so let's go in here. And we need to do a netcat listener on 1337. Okay, so we got our listener. Don't need that. We got our web server listening. We got our listener listening. And what we're going to do now is we're going to cross our fingers and click check and save. And it kind of stalled out, which is a good sign. So if we go over to our web server, we can see the rev.shell was downloaded. And if we come over here, we can see we now, looks like we have a connection. So if I go, who am I? I'm root. So I can do bin bash I, and now we can do cd root, do ls, and we can see the proof.txt. We're going to cat proof.txt, and there's the flag. The longest part of this, I'll be honest with you, was figuring this part out. Right here. Figuring out that I tried to just execute a bash reverse shell, and I tried to just execute a netcat. None of that stuff worked. At least I didn't get it to work. I'm not saying you couldn't do this. This might be overly complicated the way I did it. But I'm not sure what to tell you. You know, I just looked at the proof of concept and went from there. So overall, not too bad. Not my most favorite machine. I don't enjoy these code and injections, and I really do like old school, you know, hacka type stuff. So, but anyway, you know, I was happy that I got through it, and I hope this video helped you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I will make sure to put all of the links that I shared with you in the description below. And please, by all means, if you have any questions or comments, or if you see me doing anything dumb, just drop them below, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.